Now here's an unusual little device I found online that I thought might be worth taking a look at, so let's find out if I was right. I don't expect it to be good though, but it just intrigued me because, well, whilst it resembles one of those Google or Amazon Assistant devices, it isn't that. It's a portable, rechargeable digital television with a 7-inch screen, and that's a touch screen as well, which no doubt activates all the different features, including digital radio reception and FM radio reception and USB multimedia playback. It seems to be a jack of all trades. I'd imagine it's going to be a master of none. It's by some no-name company, and the idea of having a digital television that you carry around your house is an admirable one, but you're not going to pick up anything in the majority of houses just plonking a digital TV down on the counter. So we'll see how this is going to work. Now it says here it's 1920 by 1080 resolution. There is another sticker on the top here that you won't be able to read, but it says on there 1024 pixels by 600. So I suspect this is just one of these knocked together devices that doesn't make an awful lot of sense. For example, it has Dolby effect, whatever that is, and there's a lot of people on the side here on a stock photo holding a load of bottles of beer with the labels peeled off, and that's got absolutely nothing whatsoever to do with the product. So let's open it up, let's have a look, and let's see how bad this thing really is. Maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised. Oh, and preempting the Captain Obvious comments, yes, we all know you can stream television, you can stream the radio, and you can play multimedia on a tablet. So why would you want this? Well, you probably don't. Oh, and I'll mention that this does seem to have different SKUs for different locations. This has the appropriate digital TV standard here for the UK, but it could do others. And then on the back here, well, of course, I've got DAB Plus radio reception for the UK. By the way, they can't sell standard DAB radios anymore. They're all DAB Plus. FM, but no sticker on Bluetooth. Now that seems a bit stingy. I mean, if all the rest of the stuff's in there, just give me Bluetooth and let it work as a Bluetooth speaker. But then again, maybe the speaker sounds terrible, or maybe it has high quality sound effect. We'll find out which of those two it is. Now we do have a remote control. I was thinking that it would all be touchscreen. UK power brick. There's our antenna. Yeah, I'm sure that's going to work. Once we screw that in, we'll be able to pick up anything from around the world, I'd imagine. Take the screen protective film off, it says here. Now, I don't need to be told twice. Now, along the top edge, we've got a power button and a volume up and down, as well as quite a prominent reset hole, which doesn't fill you with confidence. But below there, we've got this antenna, and then we've got a socket. Now, that one is labelled as TV. So that indicates that this one is purely for the radio reception. But if you want to pick up television on this, you're going to have to plug something into there, which of course they've provided. So if you want to pick up TV when you're out and about, you've got to take both of these things with you. We've got the power input, an LED, which is helpfully labelled as LED, a headphone output, and a USB input for your multimedia. Right, so let's charge it up. Oh look, the LED is living up to the hype. Right, let's leave it there for a bit. Okay, well I've had it on charge now for a couple of hours, and you can see the light on the back there is still on. I don't know whether it's supposed to go out or change colour. It doesn't mention anything about this in the manual. In fact, it's a little bit scant on information. It's quite thick, but it's multiple language. I'll just mention one thing it does have at the front here on this specs page, which again skims through things quite quickly. I mean, there's no mention of the screen resolution here, for example, but it does say the battery life is up to 3.5 hours, irrespective of the function that's being used. You can see the video and audio codecs there. It's covering pretty much most of the ones that you might need, if not all of them. And if we just have a look through here, we can see the audio does bit rates as high as you'd possibly need them to go, I'd imagine. And then as far as video playback goes, does all those things, and I'm happy to see MKV on there. So, seems pretty well spec'd. I still don't know why they omitted Bluetooth from this particular one, but nevertheless, let's get it up and running. Now, you'll notice the screen is already on. That's because this is the standby, but as soon as you touch the screen, it just comes back on again. To turn it off properly, you have to hold that button down. Now, I'm going to go through the scan process, but I'm going to take this outside because scanning in here is going to give me poor results. So I think we're better off getting the best results we can and then moving it around after to see how well it can keep up with those signals. Okay, so once in the back garden, I connected up the TV antenna and extended the radio one, and the first thing that was immediately obvious as an issue was not just the extremely reflective nature of the screen, but also the fact that there were very noticeable and distracting vertical lines across its width, which I presume is the touchscreen matrix. It's also worth mentioning that with a fixed angle screen like this, any problems to do with reflections and viewing angles are difficult to mitigate. Now, a scan for the DAB radio stations brought in all the ones that I'd expect to get in this location, so then I moved on to scanning for digital television, but after multiple scans in numerous locations around the garden, I failed to pick up a single television station. Now, I'm not located on the top of a hill, but I'm also not surrounded by tower blocks. The houses around here have normal sized TV aerials. I suggest that I'm in a pretty typical reception area and I can't pick up a single TV station. Okay, so the digital TV has proven to be a bit of a bust. Moving on then to the FM radio, and doing a scan through on this one should reveal the stations it's found in this list at the bottom. But you can see it's scanning very quickly there, and it hasn't found anything at all. And even trying to tune manually to something like 88.9, which should be radio 2, isn't bringing anything up at all. So the FM radio is very poor, well, useless in fact. But if we go back and try DAB, now this one is working. It scanned through, it picked up quite a lot of stations. Unfortunately though, it's not getting a good signal on them. At the top left here, I think this is supposed to be the signal strength indicator. Well, it's not showing any strength. It is just about picking them up, but there's a lot of burbling coming through, break up on the audio. I'll just turn this one up and see if you can hear it.
The climate catastrophe as well as the climate emergency, and they all had policies geared perhaps more front and centre to that particular issue.
I think part of the issue might be to do with the way the antenna is fixed in position here. You can't move it forward from there. Of course you can tilt it left and right and move it away from the back. But if you want to tilt the antenna more towards you, well, that's not something you can do. You'd have to spin this around to try and get a better signal. And in this room here, I do need a fully articulated antenna to be able to pick up the best signal on things like Radio 4. But it picks up a really strong signal on this little Sony radio, and it gets a nice, clean station with no breakup at all.
And there's a lot of competition because
Another issue with this is when you want to turn the DAB radio off, it takes a few presses. You think you just press that button on the top, but that turns the screen off, but the radio's still playing. Now you can adjust the volume from here as well, so perhaps they've done that as a power saving measure. But to actually turn the DAB radio off, you have to go home, then that turns the sound off, and then at this point you can put it into standby. Now, the one positive thing I've got to say about this is with regard to the sound quality. The speaker setup here really sounds quite pleasant. That's if you can get anything to play through it. But if you do, it's got a nice well-rounded sound with plenty of bass, but it's not overpowering. One thing I want to test though is whether or not it's stereo. I've got some media files on this USB stick, and so far it feels to me like it is just a mono array, but I'll find out in a moment. Right, now this is a classic. I've got it to play the left-right stereo test. The positive thing is, yes, it is stereo. The negative, they've got the speakers reversed. Just have a listen to this.
Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right.
Okay, so in this test recording, I've recorded mono audio, but it should be appearing equally through both channels. But now, let's move over so that I'm just talking from the right-hand channel. So it should just now only be showing up on the right. And now let's move it across. So now I should only be showing up on the left. Right, let's see what audio file types it can play. So we'll start with an AAC. No. A FLAC. No. MP3. This is a 320 kilobits per second MP3. Right, well that worked. OGG, not supported. WAVE. No. WMA. No. Okay, I'm going into the settings here because I'm trying to turn off the subtitles. I just played an MKV file and it automatically displayed subtitles, and there was no option to switch them off either on the device itself through the menus or from the remote control. So I think I've got to switch them off here in the setup. So it showed as English, but it definitely wasn't English on the screen. And let's see if there's an off here. There we go, there's an off. Now, out of the video files I was playing, I tried MOV, MP4, an MKV, and the MKV was the only one that was able to play. It's supposed to play all these different media files, and yet I'm struggling with getting it to play anything other than just a couple of them. And it shows up in this little screen to start with. I'll just turn the sound off so it doesn't hit anything. The sound is fine on this, but let's just see. Oh look, subtitles again. Yeah, okay, that's great. See, if I tap on the screen here, there's no buttons here to turn them off. I can turn the sound on and off, but the subtitles are stuck on the screen there. And as I say, there's nothing on this remote that enables you to switch them off. If I press OK, what does that do? Nothing. Up, down, left, right.
Also an epidemiologist. I presume the
No,
prospect of
it's
a viral
just
pandemic keeps you up at night as well.
useless at MKVs as well, unless you've got one that doesn't have subtitles on it. So we're not winning, are we? Okay, I didn't expect this was going to be good, but I didn't think it would be this bad. This is a completely incompetent device. It hardly does anything at all. And the things it does do, it doesn't do right. Well, one last try. I'm going to take it out into the middle of nowhere and see if I can pick up any digital TV or any FM. Let's have a go. Right, now if this needs an unobstructed view in order to pick any TV signals up, never mind FM, well, you're not going to get much more unobstructed than this. This is the last hill before Liverpool and the sea and Wales. It goes all the way across from here, and there's not an awful lot behind me either, so let's give it a go. Let's see if it can pick anything up. And finally, it can. I've found a location where this TV works. It picked up 122 different digital TV stations, and all the ones from those that I tried work just fine without any signal breakups. Can you see on the screen there that at the moment, well, that's my shirt, I'm trying to get out of the way, that's the European Cup. There's a live match on the TV there. I doubt you can see it. But yeah, that's one of the advantages of having a live television signal out in the middle of nowhere. You can watch live TV like a sporting event, but it is a pretty limited use case. And the fact that I'm having trouble seeing the screen as well doesn't really help. All I'm looking at the moment is a reflection of my own bald head. And now it's just started to rain, so I'm going to have to go in. But I think we'll say with this one, it was a terrible idea. I mean, a digital television that's portable is never going to be usable because of the digital TV standard here in the UK. It's just not good enough for a portable device. It wasn't designed for that. It's designed for a big aerial on top of your roof. And this device, unfortunately, is hampered by that. But also there were some ridiculous mistakes there, like the fact that it won't play hardly any of the files it says it will, and also the fact that the speakers were reversed on stereo. I mean, there's just no care gone into this. I like the look of the case. The sound quality is all right as well when it plays something, but honestly, this is a pretty hopeless device. Anyway, best go in now before everything gets soaked. Right, that's it for the moment. As always, thanks for watching.